We are going to have a fair deal with China. It's going to be fair.
President Donald Trump told reporters outside the White House on Wednesday that the U.S. was still, quote, actively negotiating with China on trade. This after a source familiar with the matter said the White House is considering lowering tariffs on imported Chinese goods pending talks with Beijing. The source's comments followed a Wall Street Journal report that the White House is considering cutting its tariffs on Chinese imports in a bid to de-escalate tensions. Citing a White House official, the paper said China tariffs could come down from their current level of 145% to between 50 and 65%. Trump spoke with reporters at the White House, but did not address the specifics of the Journal report.
Everything's active. Everybody wants to be a part of what we're doing. They know that they can't get away with it any longer, but they're still going to do fine.
Earlier, in remarks at the Institute of International Finance, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said that high tariffs between the U.S. and China are not sustainable, and that Beijing needed to change tack.
There is an opportunity for a big deal here, that the U.S. is looking to rebalance to more manufacturing. The identity of that would be less consumption. If China is serious on less dependence on export-led manufacturing growth and a rebalancing toward a domestic economy, I think they use the term dual circulation. Well, right now it's really singular circulation. And if they want to rebalance, let's do it together.
Bessent added that the third quarter of this year is a reasonable estimate for achieving clarity on the ultimate level of Trump's tariffs. In addition to steep tariffs on China, Trump has also imposed a blanket 10% tariff on all other U.S. imports and higher duties on steel, aluminum, and autos. He has also suspended targeted tariffs on dozens of other countries until July 9th and floated additional industry-specific levies on pharmaceuticals and semiconductors. That has roiled financial markets and raised fears of recession.
It would be hazardous, if not outright foolhardy, for anyone to predict what Trump might do next. That we all know. But despite that, some signs have emerged over recent days, even if not very clearly, that Trump could be moving in the direction of winding down at least some of the most severe forms of the reciprocal tariffs that we've seen. And this could happen soon. Trump said at a press conference on Wednesday at the White House that the U.S. will set new tariff rates for many countries, certainly those who are dealing with the U.S., over the next 2 or 3 weeks, and that could include China. The U.S., he said, is talking with China now every day, and it's the standoff with China really that has driven much of the financial crisis around the world. Typically of him, Trump then undercut some of his own undercutting, so to speak, by renewing championing of tariffs as great for the U.S. China, he said, and he said again, has ripped off the U.S. for years, and he blamed the high China tariffs, 145% at present, on Chinese fentanyl that he said is killing 200,000 Americans a year. Much within such numbers is in dispute. But Trump has said, without doubt, that the China tariff levels will come down from the present high levels, and the Chinese appear to have reacted positively despite Trump's continuing public criticism of China. The Foreign Ministry spokesperson in Beijing has said the doors for talks are wide open. Why wouldn't they be? China is facing a near collapse of much of its export business. China has now named a point person for new talks. Li Chenggang has been appointed the Vice Commerce Minister and Trade Envoy, a very clear indication that China is preparing for further and for more substantive talks. These are likely already ongoing at some level through a high-level Chinese delegation here in Washington for the IMF World Bank spring meetings. These signs, coming both from the US and China, appear to have made markets happy to an extent, or at least a little less unhappy for the moment. And that could change, needless to say, anytime. In the last few days, market indices have risen, if not to earlier high levels. The dollar has risen a little, the 10-year yields have improved, Bitcoin is high, gold is lower, oil is lower. The announcement that Trump has no intention of firing Fed Reserve Chair Jerome Powell helped build market confidence, though Trump did add on Wednesday that he hoped the Fed would cut rates, a long-standing demand from him. But as Trump also made clear on Wednesday, his passion for reciprocal tariffs may be reduced, they may come down consequently, but they're not going away. And Trump was emphatic that in the meanwhile, tariffs on automobiles, steel, aluminum introduced separately are here to stay, and depending on responses from other countries, these and other tariffs could also potentially rise.